Hey, hey, hey. Today the video is going to be about protein bars. We're going to be doing homemade protein bars.
Tired of store-bought protein bars, so I decided to make my own.
So I think out of like convenience, we always reach for like a protein bar as like a way to get our hit of protein. They usually taste really delicious and it's like a fast and easy snack on the go. But are they really as good for you?
Say your protein bars are making you fat. There are actually almost too many additives to even name when it comes to protein bars. They are jamming all sorts of junk in these bars nowadays. The things that contribute specifically to body fat, first and foremost, are going to be the polyunsaturated fats. These are coming from seed oils. There are seed oils in just about every brand of protein bar that exists right now, and it's going to contribute to body fat storage.
I don't like to have whey protein personally. It just doesn't agree with my body, makes me break out, makes me really bloated, and it's just not for me. So I always try and go for the more vegan alternatives, but then I can't have gluten because I'm also sensitive to gluten. So I can't eat a lot of the protein bars anyway. I usually have to go for like more of like the vegan or vegetarian alternatives. And sometimes these just taste like sawdust, you know, they're so disgusting.
Okay. That shit was ass.
I'm currently studying science of nutrition. And one interesting thing that I read that kind of inspired me to look more into protein bars. So incorrect food labeling. Variations in food production, such as growing conditions, harvesting, and processing of foods may affect how much energy and nutrition they contain. Amounts listed on food labels or in nutrition database may be wildly different from reality, as much as 25%, more or less than what the packaging claims.
Are protein bars actually good to eat? I've seen that the protein isn't absorbed and the sweetness just harms your body. Now, in terms of just a snack to help hit your daily protein goal, I would say that protein bars are fine. However, if you're consuming them excessively, they are filled with sugar alcohols, aka sweeteners, which can impact your digestion.
They use nasty artificial sweeteners. They use things like sucralose and other sweeteners that are wreaking havoc on your gut health. And they also use really nasty sources of carbohydrates. For instance, most protein bars, you'll find oats, wheat, or other processed grains that are going to lead to problems and help with body fat storage, which is the opposite of what you're trying to do with these protein bars.
But I think for today, we're just gonna dive into these recipes and let's get into the bars. So the first protein bar that we're gonna try today is the no bake protein bar. Pretty basic name. So for this recipe, it claims that it makes 7 to 8 bars, and each bar contains 162 calories, 8 grams of carb, 10 grams of fat, and 10 grams of protein, which I guess is kind of like normal protein bars, yeah. So normally, like with protein bars as well, like when you have a look at some of the labels, not all of them, but some of them, it will say like it has like 8 grams of protein, but then you look at the carbs and fats and then it has like 20 grams of carbs or like 20 grams of fat. I think if you're going to have a protein bar, you want the protein to be the highest macro out of all of it.
Protein has to be higher than the fat content, and if ideally higher than the carbs as well.
Yeah, but with this one, the protein and the fats are the same. So anyway, so to make this into a bowl, you will need 100 grams of almond flour, 30 grams of powdered peanut butter, 2 scoops of chocolate whey protein powder. I have some vegan chocolate protein powder. It says to have whey protein powder, but I don't really like whey for myself personally, so we're going to have this. I hate when they just say scoops because every scoop is different. So I think on average, 1 scoop is around 20 to 30 grams. I just put in 40 grams. I hate when they just write scoops.
Like, write the grams. Everything else is in grams, and you just write scoops.
I think it's like a marketing thing. 20 grams of peanut butter, 100 mils of almond milk, 50 mils of sugar-free maple syrup. This is just like a chemical storm. Like when you read the ingredients on the back, it's like water, thickeners, gums, salt, colors, artificial flavorings, acids, sweeteners, preservatives. Like, I don't know if it's any better than a normal protein bar because of all of the shit that they add into it, but 50 mils. Ooh. Did you see that?
Ooh.
And 30 grams of cocoa powder. This is pretty easy and fast to make, I have to say. So you just start off by adding all of your ingredients into a bowl. We did all the things. Mix it up, give it a little stirry stir. Oh, it smells really good. So it's kind of like to a powder. I think it needs a little bit more milk. Tastes good. Oh, that's better. So you can see like now it's going into more of a softer dough. I might add a little bit of water into it. I put a little bit too much protein powder. So it has like a good consistency. And then into a tray, I'm just gonna put down some baking paper. So I think we're just gonna add our mixture into the tin. And then I just think smooth it out. So now we have our protein batter, the base, the protein batter base. That sounds funny.
Big, bada big boom.
We're going to make the topping. For the topping, you will need 30 grams of chocolate and 20 grams of coconut oil, and then melt the 30 grams of chocolate with the 20 grams of the coconut oil, and then put it on top, and then sprinkle some sea salt. And that's it. That's our first protein bar done. So it goes in the fridge for some hours. For 1.5 hours, they said.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
That's how they're looking. I do think that they could have done a little bit longer in the fridge, but I'm really hungry and I want to eat one now. So we're going to. Okay. That's actually really good. The consistency of the base is like really gooey. It's kind of like, gives me like fudge vibes. So it's really nice. It's not too sweet. It has a little bit of like the peanut butter undertone with the chocolate, which I really like.
I'm such a skank for peanut butter. It makes me go feral.
The only negative thing I can say about it is that you can definitely taste the coconut oil. I would maybe add less coconut oil into the topping because when I did the macros, it's really, really high in fats. But other than that, it's really good. Like way better than the protein bars that you can get in the shops. It tastes like you're eating like a fudgy cake. It just like melts in your mouth. I'm so surprised with how good that is. I really liked the little bit of the sea salt at the end because when you were eating it, it didn't overpower it, but it just added like a really like subtle taste to it. It just worked so well. Let's talk about the macros. So I did it between 7 and 8 bars because she says both. So she said 10 grams of protein. So if you made it into 7 bars, you would have 14 grams of protein. If you made it into 8 bars, you would get 12 grams of protein with the ingredients that I used. So that is more than what she said. So that's cool. For carbs, she said that there was 8 grams of carbs when I did it. If you made it into 7 bars, you would have 5.71, which is kind of closer to 6 grams of carbs, I guess. And if you had 8 bars, you would have 5 grams. So again, I got less in the macros, so that's cool, I think. And she claims 10 grams of fats, and when I did it for the 7 bars, I got 15 grams of fat, and for 8 bars I got 13 grams of fat, so I got a little bit more. I think that you could lower the fats by not putting so much coconut oil in there because I do think that the coconut oil was a little bit sickening. You could just use more chocolate in it or make it thinner on the top. The chocolate doesn't have to be so thick, but I think you could use like 10 grams of the coconut oil and then it would be lower in fats as well. So I think that that would help the protein bar if you were to make it at home. And then for the calories, she said 162 calories, and for 7 bars I got 219, and for 8 bars I got 192. So a little bit of a difference, but not that much. I'm thinking let's give it like a ranking out of like 1 to 10. Should we? I would give it like 9. It's really good. It's not perfect. I think like it would be better if there was like maybe some crunchy bits or something in there. Then we had the cookie dough protein bars. It seems to be a thing with these girls that they just stare blankly into the screen while doing their videos. It's a thing. For this one, unfortunately though, she claims it's high protein, but she doesn't actually give any macros. So I don't know. I don't really trust when people make these claims, but they don't actually tell you what's in them. Like as in like the macros and stuff that they do. It's kind of like trusting like a fuckboy when they're like, you're the only girl I talk to. Yeah. So to make these protein bars, you will need... Okay, so she did it in cups. I guess I will say it in cups, but I also figured out the measurements to do it in grams. So she said half a cup, which is 100 grams of almond flour, half a cup, which is 100 grams of vegan vanilla protein powder, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, 1/3 cup, which is 73 grams of creamy peanut butter, 1/3 cup, which is 73 grams of sugar-free maple syrup, 3 tablespoons of unsweetened almond milk, plus more as needed for dough already. And then just mixing it until it gives you like a dough-like consistency. And then it says to just keep adding a teaspoon at a time until you're happy with it. It's still very floury. I don't even know what that word was. Floury? Powdery? Floudery. I'm like Paris Hilton inventing new words. Sliving. I added maybe something like another, I would say maybe like another 6. No, maybe that's too many. 4? No, definitely 5. Let's go 5. And you can still see how powdery it is. So I'm just gonna pour some in there. And it's still so floudery, still so floudery. So let's add some more. Here we go. Once you've got it to a consistency that you're happy with, add your chocolate chips. 73 grams of the chocolate chips. Yeah, man, this is still too powdery. Let's add a little bit more. Yeah. Then press the dough into a rectangle baking dish. Can you see how it's not like really fixed? It's like very flaky. I'm just gonna use my hands. So you can see that it actually looks quite cool. This one says to freeze it for 20 minutes. So we're gonna put it into the freezer. I'm excited, looking good. For this one, I just wanted to play around. So I used coconut flour. I put the almond flour and coconut flour in comparison to see which one was better. And they both are better in different ways. Calorie wise, the coconut flour is way lower in calories. Per 100 grams, it has 359 calories and the almond flour has 619 calories. So the coconut flour is better if you want to have lower calories. For the carbs though, the coconut flour has 20 grams of carbs and the almond flour has 6 grams of carbs. For the fats, coconut flour has 14 grams of fat and the almond flour has 53 grams of fat. And then for the protein, the almond flour has 24 grams of protein and the coconut flour has 19. Depending on what your goals are, what your dietary requirements are, then you can make your choice between either the coconut flour or the almond flour. Both are good. Through me doing these, they both turned out nice. They both worked. Let's just cut it. Yeah. The bars look good. Let's give it a try. Oh, okay. Oh, they're not very stuck together. It's very thick, but maybe that's what cookie dough is because I need some water, as I was saying. I'm not the biggest fan of cookie dough personally, so maybe I'm not the best at judging this, the best person to be judging this. But as for a protein bar, I need to try it again. It's okay. I would give it maybe like a 4 out of 5. I mean 4 out of 5. That's pretty high. A 4 out of 10. It's not that nice. It's very salty, but I think with cookie dough it's meant to be salty. Better than the healthy protein bars you can have. So, alright. 5 out of 5. It's not good, but it's not bad. I wouldn't be upset about it, but I just wanted to try and add a different type of protein bar into the video. So of course I did the macros, and in the recipe she says it makes 7 bars, so I just did everything together and divided it by 7 for one individual of the 7 bars. It was 18 grams of protein, which is pretty good for a protein bar, pretty high. Carbs was 9.71, which is 10 grams, and fat was 11.85, which is 12, rounding it up to 12. The calories per bar was 231, which is pretty normal for a protein bar. So all in all, the macros weren't too bad in my opinion. And then I found a homemade Oreo protein bar, which the video, it looked really good. In the video, he claims that each bar has 20 grams of protein and just 4 grams of carbs. However, in this video, he does say the ingredients he uses, but he gives 0 measurements of anything that he uses. So it was very frustrating, and I just tried to use my own maths to make it work. Obviously, my maths isn't good or perfect, but we tried. I will measure as we go along to what I use, and let's see. So for this recipe, he just says that you will need vanilla protein powder. So maybe if we go 80 grams. Yeah, because if it tastes like shit, I don't want to waste the food. Or the protein, should I say. The gains. Black cocoa. I don't have black cow powder. So let's put in like 10 grams of this. I realized that I've already maybe put too much protein powder in there because I totally forgot 0 fat Greek yogurt that we're going to put in. I'm just going to add the whole thing because why not? I just got some black food coloring because I couldn't find any black cocoa powder, and I I want it to be like the cookies and cream look. So we're gonna add a little dash. Ooh, maybe that's a little bit too much. He says to mix it until it's like a crumbly texture. So definitely way too much powder. But I have some of this because we have to use this for the icing as well. It's just like a protein drink that you can buy. So I think we're gonna add a little bit of that into it. Ooh, oh, it was just a bubble. Oh, it's so thick. Add some more. Let's add a little bit more black. Like my happy color. Still not very black. I think we need more. It's really hard to mix. It just looks moldy. Mixture. Mix to create a dough. Cut into 3 pieces and shape into a protein bar. Oh, okay. I mean, the texture's quite cool, I have to say. Sitting them to the side for a second. So once you have your protein bars formed, then you want to make the glaze. To make the glaze, he says to use stevia with some protein milk. I also have some sugar-free maple syrup. Mix until glazy. Okay, let's add 2 more. All right, I think I started off with way too much milk. Maybe if I just get rid of that for a minute and we add the sweetener. Let's add 3 now. And then we just add a little bit of the milk back. Just a little, just a... That tastes like shit, man. Maybe if I use this one from earlier. Wait. Alright, we're starting again. They both taste bad.
Oh man.
Maybe if we do the milk, just a little, and then we do a little bit of this. That tastes better. Maybe we'll use some coconut. You need like something to make it thicker. But just a little bit. Oh, it is actually getting thicker. All right, let's take our little poopies and put it into this because I think we're supposed to coat it. Okay, this, nice. Oh, wunderbar. Yeah, can you see how diddly umptious this looks? I don't know, it smells like pancake. Okay, and so the Oreo protein bars do not look appealing, but let's not judge a book by its cover, could be good. Okay, and then it says to leave it in the fridge for a minimum of 15 minutes, but I feel like it's gonna need longer than 15 minutes.
15 minutes later.
They definitely, I mean, they look like the real, I guess, but they don't look that appealing. They're not set at all. They're very squishy and gooey. Oh. No. Just no. Out of 10, 1. I don't know, there's something in there that I just don't like the taste of. I'm not even gonna have another bite. From the start, the recipe, they didn't even give you the measurements, and this just tastes like shit. A waste of time. I think that the reel got like a lot of views and likes and stuff like that, but this is just so pointless and dumb, and I just, not a fan. Don't do it. It's bad. Like bad. But regardless, I did the macros with the measurements that I used. For 3 bars, it was 31 grams of protein. The carbs was 6.66. The fat was 3.33. And then the calories was 183. And then we have inspired by Reese's protein bars. The recipes she does, they always look so tasty. And I really love peanut butter and chocolate. They just go so well together.
Just anything with peanut butter and chocolate, it makes me go crazy.
So for this recipe, she claims that it will make 6 bars, and each bar will have 175 calories, and it has 20 grams of protein per bar. You will need half a cup, which is 100 grams of 0% Greek yogurt, 1/4 cup, which is 59 grams of 0% milk, 3/4 cup, which is 75 grams of the powdered peanut butter, 2 scoops of vanilla protein powder, again the scoop thing, so I just did 30 grams each, so 60 grams of protein powder, and half a cup of oat flour, so half a cup, which is 100 grams, and I used coconut flour for this one. So to make the bars, just start off by mixing peanut butter base Oh, it smells really good. With this one, we have to shape them into the bars before we put them into the fridge. Shape into long rectangles and freeze for 30 minutes or until solidified. I kind of fucked up with this because this is my little, is that even a bar? Put them into protein bar shapes and then put it in the freezer. And I think that you were just supposed to put them in a tray and then put it in, not separate them all. So that was my bad. I accidentally misunderstood. These are the bases for the Reese's inspired protein bars. I don't know, they kind of look like chicken nuggets or like chicken tendies. Peanut butter chicken tendies, vegan meat alternative tendies. Anyway, but I think they look quite cute actually. So we're gonna put it in the freezer now. It says to put it in the freezer for 30 minutes before you put the chocolate on the outside. So let's put it in. And then for the chocolate shell, you will need half a bar of sugar-free chocolate, which is 50 grams, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, 1 tablespoon is 4.5 grams, so 2 is 9 grams. And then it says to melt the chocolate bar and oil in a microwave. I just did it on the stove top on top of boiling water. Yeah, top peanut butter base with chocolate cut into 6 bars. Again, because I put them into the bar shape, I just ended dipping them in the chocolate, which I think was incorrect. They just look like it just looks like lumpy shit, but maybe this shit will taste good. So let's not judge.
2 hours later.
So here is our Reese's inspired protein bars. Yeah, so they're looking quite cute. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think they need longer because it's like melting in my hands. Really velvety, melts in your mouth. It's a little bit dry, but not too dry. Yeah, so it's not as dry as the cookie dough, but it's not as moist and velvety as the no bake one that I've done today, but still pretty good. I do like the flavors. They go really well. The peanut butter is very subtle in this. I would give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. So I still just stuck with her measurements, even though I played around with it a little bit. I divided it into 6 because she said that the recipe makes 6 bars. So she claims that each bar is 20 grams and I got 19.83, which is pretty much 20 grams. So yay! She was being honest and it's correct, which is awesome. So for carbs, I got 12 grams and for fat, I got 8 grams per bar. And then calories, she said 175 calories and I got 209 calories per bar, but maybe that's because of the coconut flour, but it's not that far off. I mean, 20 calories, it's not that big of a deal, really. These tasted really good. I think that you could make them better. I would probably play around with them a little bit myself. The peanut butter flavor was a little bit too soft, so you could make it more peanut buttery. And our final protein bar for today is our Rice Krispie high protein bars with 12 grams of protein each. In this, she says that you can cut it into 9 or 15 squares. Obviously, if you want lower calories, cut it into 15. For her macros, it's 9. Each one contains 160 calories with 12 grams of protein. To make this, you will need 120 grams of a vegan vanilla protein powder, 120 grams of Rice Krispies. I couldn't find rice bubbles. This isn't a thing here in Germany. I thought that you could find them. I thought that they were just like an everywhere thing, but turns out no. I went to so many shops looking for this, couldn't find any of them. I found puffed rice, 150 grams of marshmallows. So the first time doing it, I couldn't find light butter and I had vegan marshmallows. They're fat-free, they're vegan, they got no palm oil. I think they say they're gluten-free, and so I was like, well, this is fine. Use the vegan marshmallows, and then I used coconut oil instead and tried to melt them down, and it just did not work at all. I think I stood there for like 20-30 minutes waiting for it to melt down, and they just turned into like little bubbles, like little pebbles or something. It didn't really go stringy. It's like very like lumpy. Didn't work at all. So I went back to the shop and I found some marshmallows. I could only find the mini marshmallows though, so I hope it's okay. We will soon find out, I guess. I also got some butter. This is the lowest fat butter I could find, but it's not normal butter. It's margarine. It's made from olive oil. It was the lowest fat out of all of them. 30 grams of light butter, 150 grams of marshmallows. Melt the butter and marshmallows. Kind of looks like macaroni cheese. Okay, and so we need to have 140 grams of vanilla protein powder added into it. Stir in 80 grams of protein powder, and then it said you might need a few drops of milk here. I misunderstood and just added all of the milk into it. This was wrong, but it is what it is. I didn't realize until it was too late. Add the Rice Krispies and stir until they're all covered. Flatten into a grease-proof paper-lined tin. Okay, so there we have the Rice Krispie treats. I think that they look okay. Can you hear? It's making noises like rice bubbles, so maybe it will work out. Put it in the fridge for 2 to 3 hours, it said. Now we're going to mix up the top. They haven't been in the fridge for 3 to 5 hours, but so with this recipe I have figured out that I just put all of the measurements and the ingredients in with the rice bubbles, and you're actually meant to use some of the protein and some of the milk for the chocolate icing on top. So we're just gonna do this. For the toppings, mix together 40 grams of protein powder, cacao powder, stevia. It says to put honey and stevia in it, but I didn't really like the stevia when we did the other one, so I'm not gonna put that in. I'm just gonna use some of the maple syrup and milk and spread over the top. And then that is now what it looks like with the chocolate on top. Then we're just gonna put it back in the fridge. Refrigerate for another couple of hours.
3 days later.
And slice into however many slices you like. The calories will differ for this. Keep in the fridge for 3 to 4 days. It's not bad. It's very spongy. It doesn't make me feel like I'm eating like a Rice Krispie treat. It's very spongy. I think it may be because 1, I didn't use rice bubbles because I couldn't find any. 2, because I added the milk into the mixture and I think that the puffed rice absorbed the milk or the moisture, but it kind of gives like a muesli bar texture. Like it's a little bit soft but kind of chewy. So it's not bad, but it's not crispy. But it's very sweet. The flavors are very nice. It tastes really good. So yeah, I think it works really well. I'm surprised. I was actually thinking this was going to be a fail. Yeah, I don't have anything negative to say. It didn't turn out how I expected it to turn out, but I'm not mad about it. It tastes pretty good. Give this one a rating. I would say this is like an 8 out of 10. We did the macros. I did it for 9 and I did it for 15 because she says both. So for the protein, she claims 12 grams of protein. If you cut them into 9 slices, you get 12 grams of protein. Yay! If you cut it into 15 pieces, you get 7.53 grams of protein. They didn't list any other carbs or fats, so I'm just going to tell you what I got. For the carbs, if you slice it into 9, you get 24 grams of carbs, and if you slice it into 15, you get 14 grams of carbs. For the fats, if you cut it into 9 slices, you get 2 grams of fats, and if you cut it into 15 slices, then you get 1.4 grams of fat, so super low in fat. She said 160 calories, and when I did the macros for 9 bars, I got 167, so super close again. Yay, this recipe matched really well, so that's really perfect. So if you cut it into 15 slices, then it is 100 calories per slice. I think that this was like a trend for a while to have the Rice Krispie treats before you go to the gym. If you're into that, then I think this is good. They tasted really good. So yeah, all in all, I think that today's video was quite successful. All of the recipes went well. Our collection from today. So out of all of them, my favorite was the chocolate one. This one was really good. The texture's really good. I pretty much ate them all already. There's only one left. Second place goes the Reese's inspired peanut butter protein bars. Then the Rice Krispie one. The flavors are really good. The texture's not my favorite, but everything goes really well. Then the cookie dough one. Maybe these two are kind of the same. Last place is this one, the cookies and cream one. It just tastes like fucking shit. As you can see, this is the one that I took the bite from, just so you can see the inside still, and I didn't have any more of it because, or should I do it now? It tastes better now than it did the day I made it. So maybe it needs to sit in the fridge for longer. Now it just doesn't really taste like anything. So I think I'm going to end the video there. I think that the video today was really successful. The only shitty thing is like they make 7 bars, but then you only have about 5 to 6 days to eat them. So That's the only downside, but then at the same time you don't have so many added chemicals and gums and all this type of stuff in there. So I will definitely be dabbling more into this. I think that this was a really cool learning experience and I would like to play around with it more. Maybe if I make one that's kind of my own creation, I will add it onto my social media or maybe make a short or something out of it and share it with you. But yeah, I definitely think it was good. They were all really easy and fast to make. Like I think each one took, okay, the Rice Krispie one took fucking forever because it just wasn't working out, but all of them took like maybe like 15 minutes maximum to make. It wasn't hard at all. So I think convenient wise, they are quite convenient. I usually have to go for like more of like the vegan or vegetarian alternatives, and sometimes these just taste like sawdust. They're so disgusting. All of the bars that I had today were so moist and so nice. I think that it's definitely worth making your own for sure. Also, they were quite big in size and everything as well. You can custom make them to however you like. I really like this idea. I like the concept, so I will definitely be experimenting with this more just for myself. I think I'm going to do this, like the protein bar thing, as like a 3-part series because I also want to go into like protein balls. I found a lot of really cool recipes that I want to try, and there was also like so many extra protein bars that I also wanted to try, and they kind of had a bit of a theme, so I think that I would also do another video. Yeah, so I think I'm going to end the video here. If you've watched it all the way through, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. We'll catch you next time. Ciao. But they're all beautiful in their own way.